Hello world, welcome to Building Black Wall Street. This video is going to be on real estate versus stocks. I hope to present the evidence that the stock market is a better investment and more profitable than investments in real estate, and also to point out if you are buying a single residential property and not commercial properties, you should be very skeptical about considering that an investment. I decided to do this video based on research I saw from the Ariel Investment 2015 Black Investor Survey. I'm optimistic about the results of this research because it shows that in 2010, the majority of African Americans believed that individual stocks was a better investment than real estate. And in prior years, they had felt real estate was the better investment. So that tells me a lot of people are starting to draw the correct conclusion about where's the best place for them to put their money. To go over this research, it says perceptions of best investment overall. Which of the following do you think is the best investment overall? This was a survey given to 500 median income African Americans. When I say median income, they made $50,000 a year at least and above that. And I hope to persuade the individuals still looking at real estate as the best investment to see that that's not the case. Real estate could not outperform the S&P 500 index over a couple of decades or a correctly chosen stock. What I found alarming about the survey is that you still have people that do not understand the opportunity that the stock market presents. With this chart right here, it says stock market versus home improvement. And it posed a question, which do you think is a better investment? An investment in the stock market or an investment in improving your home? And in 2005, only 19% of African Americans felt the stock market was a better investment. 64% felt home improvement was a better investment than the stock market. And I'm hopeful because in 2015, 33% felt the stock market was a better improvement, but you still have the same 64% that felt home improvement was a better investment. I can understand their thinking. If they improved certain areas of their homes, that would raise the value of that house, but that capital would probably accumulate more if it was invested in the right stock. So this video is to sway that 64% and point out the facts. So hopefully, instead of them improving their home, they would use that capital more wisely to build more profit. I'm going to present the facts from this CNBC article in 2014 to show that real estate cannot compare to the stock market as far as investing is concerned. The article reads, even as the stock market soars to record highs, federal regulators are announcing new, cheaper ways for cash-strapped borrowers to buy a home. With the catastrophic housing crash of the last decade still glaring through the rearview mirror, the government is again pushing home ownership as the best way to build wealth. But is it? it would perhaps be smarter if wealth accumulation is your goal to rent and put money in the stock market, which has historically shown much higher returns than the housing market, said Nobel Prize-winning economist Robert Shiller at a Standard & Poor's conference last week. And Mr. Shiller is probably the authority when it comes to the history of housing prices for the last century. He's done the most extensive research on the patterns of the prices. So I don't think there's anybody more qualified to conclude which one would be a better investment. He's one of the most knowledgeable individuals when it comes to housing prices and the economics of the housing market in the U.S. As a matter of fact, the Case-Shiller Home Price Index is what a lot of economists use to talk about the history of the housing prices and also the housing market in the U.S. I'm going to continue reading. It says Shiller notes that the comparison between stock returns and home value returns is rough, given that stocks pay cash dividends and housing pays in kind in the form of housing services, that is, you get to live in a house. Still, if you remove all forms of dividends and compare the Standard & Poor's U.S. Composite Stock Price Index since 1871 and Shiller's own real U.S. Home Price Index since 1890, the stock market capital gains outperform the housing market capital gains. Both, he notes, are smaller than one might expect. And the reason the stock returns would be smaller than you might expect is because if you remove the dividends, then you're not going to have as great a compound effect for the stocks. But if you include them, then it is far superior to real estate. The article continues, the real S&P composite has increased 12.2-fold from January 1890 to December 2014, or 2.03% per year, much less than most people would have guessed. Most of the real return in the stock market over the last century has come from dividends, not real capital gains, said Shiller. Home prices have increased only 1.5-fold, or only 33 basis points a year. Essentially, home price capital gains overall have amounted to virtually nothing. I'm going to continue reading from the bottom of this article. It says, you don't accrue as much wealth as a renter as you do as a buyer, noted Sam Cater, deputy chief economist of CoreLogic. The con, though, is that with home ownership being the primary way that the middle class gets richer over time, and with the bulk of their wealth and equity tied up in housing, if home prices decline, they take a huge hit. The happy compromise, it seems, would be to keep less equity in your home through a long-term, low-down payment mortgage, or if you can qualify, through an interest-only loan, and keep more cash ready for investing in the stock market. It's a riskier choice given the current volatility in home prices, but it may be the best way to build wealth. I hope these facts get that 64% to focus more on investing in stocks than on home improvement, because it is clearly the better place to put the excess capital in order to make it accumulate and turn into more profit. I'll be bringing a lot more evidence on why African Americans and people in general should be investing to build long-term wealth. Stay blessed and stay tuned. Peace.